Hi, this is Critical Discussions, episode 27, and this episode is a year in review. And before we get into actual year in review part of this episode, let's quickly discuss a few things that have happened just recently in the past several days. I'm recording this on the 30th of December 2023, and just very recently, essentially Russian, well, I guess you could say like oppositioner, was a Russian politician, was sentenced to 9 years of prison. Ksenia Fadeyeva, former head of opposition figure Alexei Navalny's regional office in the city of Tomsk. It's going to be spending 9 years in prison unless Putin's regime actually, crumbles before that. And she was one of the few people who decided to stay in Russia, which to me just screams stupid, but this was her choice. And apparently for simply trying to run any sort of opposition in Russia, simply for doing political activities. She was essentially sentenced by court to 9 years and sort of deemed an extremist, essentially, which is exactly the same thing that has been happening in Belarus as well. This is something that a lot of Westerners do not understand, especially when they write something like, oh, why don't you protest? Why Russians, why Belarusians, don't just topple regimes and things like that. This is why. Because for every action in dictatorship countries, there's going to be consequences. As soon as you sort of put your head above certain sort of level, you are going to be targeted by FSB, by KGB, by all of those despicable, essentially, accomplices of this regime. And this is something that unfortunately a lot of Ukrainian people also don't understand, that Russia and Belarus are not the same as Ukraine, because Ukraine has had and has still quite a lot of corruption, sure, but it was never a dictatorship country. There were changes of regimes, there were protests, and it just never happened the way it happened in Belarus and the way it happened in Russia. So this is just something to hopefully, this is just something I hope some people will be able to understand, that she didn't even do anything illegal. She was simply working for an opposition political candidate, Alexei Navalny. Simple as that. And the movement was declared extremist, and now she's sentenced to 9 years in prison. There's one thing.